Good morning traders and welcome to today's live trading. Today is Thursday the 1st of February and we are on the FTSE 100 as usual. So let me run you through my analysis for today. As you can see, I've got my band drawn in here just around the 7550 level. That's made up of the 4-hour band obviously and the today's daily pivot. We've actually got the 5-minute 500 moving through here as we speak. A bit further up we've got another band just above around the 7575 level, and below we've got quite a big band down at just above really the 7500 level. You can see, looking at the chart in the middle here, the hourly chart, that the low of yesterday is this red line, and that came down into our big band yesterday. Didn't quite get to the 7500, but we have tested that band, and really if the best place to look for the continuation of this move down, I think, would be up at the band above, the one around the 775 level. You can see we've got this sort of mini swing low. It didn't really bounce much from here, but it definitely consolidated for a little bit. So if we got to move up into that consolidation, I would definitely be happy to look for a short move from there. But as far as immediate trade setups go, I don't really have one, to be honest. Yesterday we did trade right through this band and bounced between it, and as it stands this morning we've not really broken above it, so I would be not that enamoured about taking a long just at the minute. I would rather see it come up, properly break above this daily pivot, maybe return and go again, or failing that it starts giving us some decent sell signals and we can maybe look to try and trade it back down to this band. I think, to be honest, my favoured one would be for it to show that it wants to go up out of the two, because like I say, I would like to sell from up here. So I guess we'll see what happens. If it starts breaking down from here, I would just be slightly concerned that it's not got the energy to get back down to these levels. But you never know, to be fair. So we'll see what sets up after the open. We've got 10 minutes until we open, and I'll update you once we start getting some decent price action. Okay, so we've just ticked 9 o'clock. It was looking like we were going to potentially get a short trade from the 8.55 candle, but that hasn't materialised. You can see it sort of finished as a doji. So just to recap, really, the first hour's trading, we said we were potentially looking for a short or a long if it could get above and come back down. Well, it did move down, but just not in a way that I could do anything with it. We opened here with this big sort of doji candle. We then had this sort of bearish pin bar. It did move quite a way down but couldn't finish near its lows. Then we had this sort of big engulfing candle, and then we moved straight back up, back into the band, and we're just sort of playing with this reaction area here. It's a good place to take a short trade, hence that if this would have finished near its lows, I would have been happy to short that. But the pin bar's just not really happened. The only one we got was this one here, but this is on the peak of the move up. So I wanted to see at least a test of the ATMA before getting triggered into a trade. And as you can see, it did react from the ATMA and moved higher, only just though. So far that's kept me out of any short position. Now, if this is going to set up and give us a sell signal, then that's what I'll do. I'll take that, no problem. But what I was wary of is basically the potential for it to move up, like we talked about this morning, come back down and want to go higher. So both trades are still really on the cards, to be honest. Nothing's really changed since the open. We've not managed to get down to these lows from yesterday, and we've not managed to move up. But if you look across at the hourly time frame, you can see we've got this horrible doji candle here. This was the 8 o'clock candle. And looking across at the 4 hour, you can see we have moved up and tested the ATMA within this 4-hour candle. So this closes at the end of the current hour, and that for me would allow a move up towards the upper band if price wanted to do so. So that's just giving me a little clue that price might want to start moving up at some point. So I will keep watching for that. And if I do get any signals, I will update you. You can see price is grinding its way down, which is a little bit annoying, I have to be honest, because the only signal really that we got from the band after the move down was this one. And like I said, with it having such a bullish move from this area here, I wasn't comfortable getting in without a test of the ATMA, which we got a reaction, and then we've moved through, and the only other possible signal that I could have used is this engulfing candle, which I decided against because it was 15 minutes before 9:30, ended at 20 past, obviously, so 10 minutes before 9:30, at which point we've got really the only high profile bit of news that I was bothered about today, the manufacturing PMI in the UK, so that just put me off the trade really. I didn't want to take it going into that piece of news so close, especially this kind of candle, because it makes, with it being engulfing in nature, it's moved a decent distance, so it's your risk is going to be bigger than say a usual pin bar. Risk wise we would have been looking probably above here, up at sort of, that's 13-14 points without your spread, just to there, and I would have probably put a couple of points higher. And if you're looking down, you would have had to aim at the next band, which that's 18 points to that point, but again that doesn't include the spread, and I usually just put it a pip or two above to allow for near misses. So you were looking at best 1-to-1. Marry that with, also you've got the probability of, well not the probability of, but the factor of the news, just made the setup not fantastic. All the factors together. A 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade I don't mind too much about if the situation is right. If the news hadn't have been there, I'd have probably taken it, to be honest, a 1-to-1, but the news just made it too much of a risk. But it has moved nicely since then. You can see we've come down, we've retested basically the lows, we've moved down again, we're just getting another retest of these lows now. So whether it'll finally roll over and come down to this band remains to be seen, but I mean it's moving in a nice structured way, which is good to see. And would have been good to see if I'd have been in a trade, but like I say, it just wasn't to be this morning so far. As far as any potential trade setups going forward, if it comes down to this lower band, I would definitely be happy to buy from down here, and if it was to come all the way up, I'd be less inclined to sell now. It's had 2 decent attempts at trying to roll over, and if it comes up, that'll be a second failure. So I think if it was to come up, I would rather see it come right above this band, come back into it and give us a long to come up and test this band. So maybe we're just looking at buys for now, really. I would have to, the potential for a sell is still there in this band. It would just have to be good price action. Coming up to 10:30, we might go into that sort of late morning lull. But we've had decent price action so far. I cannot complain about that. So fingers crossed it stays this way, and we do get a trade-off at some point. Okay, so we're 20-3 now. We've actually finally had a sell pin bar from this large band that I was talking about. We've moved all the way through it, and now we're looking like we're going to break down again. So I need to get a sell order in at 90.9. So I'll do that quickly. What was it at? 490.9. Okay, so the order's in just below this candle now. So if it starts moving down, it'll trigger us in. The stop is going to be just above the 7500 level here, and target wise, I don't see any reason why we can't aim for the band below, so we're looking at about 15 points on this one. So I'll bring the order ticket across, and let's see if this one can get triggered. Well, that was short-lived. I'll cancel this one because this was the signal here and it has shot right up, so it didn't even trigger. I don't think we broke the low of this candle at all, actually. It's not too much of a problem because we're moving up towards this swing here, which looks good for a potential sell. It would be the place that would be the most sensible to take a sell from, really. So if we do move up there and get a sell signal there, I would actually prefer that to this one. Whether it's going to do that, it seems to be on a bit of a mission at the moment. I don't know. So we'll see what it does when it gets there. So it's looking like we're going to get another signal just 5 minutes later, if this finishes where it is, and it is going to. So the lower of 502, so we want to be in at 500.9. So the sell 0.9, whoops, 0.9. Submit that. Submit that. Bring that ticket across. So again, it's pretty much the same. It's really the same thinking as the previous one, but this one just didn't trigger. We've moved up a good 10 points, and now we're into sort of this area that I discussed just earlier, where we've got this swing low. I was hoping this would maybe close down below the S1 for a little bit of added confluence, but it still hasn't managed to close past sort of these closes here, which is good to see. So if it can start moving down and trigger the trade, hopefully we can get a nice move down, maybe not all the way down to the lows. We'll have to see where it starts struggling. You can see we've got big pins around here, so maybe this sort of level. But I think definitely to begin with we could aim down for the S2, but we need to get triggered first, so let's see if that happens. So just as what happened with the last one, this one again has moved straight up and just ignored the signal completely, so cancel that order as well. We are still in this area still that is of interest, so you can see we've spiked up into this sort of low here. This has been a really decent move up so far, and if you look on the higher time frames, it's a decent move up, currently sat at the bottom of a very, very good move down. So this is obviously a very key level down here. But whether we get any sort of continuation of this down move today remains to be seen. It would be nice, because this is a good place to try and see if that's going to happen. So if we do get another pin bar, I will place another order for another sell, but at the minute they're just not triggering, so I'll keep watching. So again, that didn't take long at all. I'm going to be putting one just below here. I'd be quick. I'm just going to submit it. If I could get the units right while it's popping up, I'll pop the order in. We want to be in at 7.7, exactly what it's currently on. So there has been a news announcement, but I don't mind trading into this one. I'm not expecting too much movement on this market from it. So the order's in at 7.7. We would have got triggered had I been in earlier, and we'd be just sitting through this, but if it starts coming back down now, we will be in it. I'll leave the ticket there, and we'll see if it starts coming down finally. Okay, so we've obviously been triggered in the trade, and it's starting to move down a decent amount now. We're getting this move further down, but as far as targets wise, the risk on the trade wasn't really that much. You know, probably up to here, we're probably looking at around 10 points. We've hit the 10-point marker now, so we're just looking for places that make sense to exit this trade now, really. We're 3:30. We've had a lot of movement today already. Are we really expecting another move down? Huge move down? Maybe not. But that said, the momentum on all the charts here is to the downside. So I think what I'm going to do is just see where this really wants to run to. If we look at the price action coming down and coming up, there's nothing really that stood in its way too much. I mean, we've got a few spikes around this sort of level here. You can see sort of just where we're coming into now. And then a little bit further down, we've got a few more spikes here. You can see price has held a little bit here. But I mean, they're really minor. They're really, really minor. So as far as like trade stopping point goes, they're not massive. News-wise, I don't think we have anything really of any significance for the rest of the day. So it may just want to keep drifting lower, which is obviously fine by me. So I think that's what I'm going to let it do. I'm going to let it give me a signal to get out of the market. For now, it's falling quite freely. So we'll go with the target of this lower band, and if it gets there, fantastic. Or if it starts giving us signals to get out, then we'll review and look at those. So for now, we'll keep watching. Okay, so we're coming up to 4 o'clock now. I'm going to close this trade here. 21 points banked. That was a pretty good trade in the end. The reason for closing that trade there, we had this candle here. A lot of buying came in on this candle. We managed to push it back down, but we were just struggling into the wicks of these candles. If I actually bring the right tool across, you can see it's just sort of lining up with this big wick here. And going into the last half an hour nearly of trading, I don't really want to hold on to this to see a late rally. We've had a good move down today. What I don't want to see is profit taking from the shorts into today's close and watch my profit disappear. We managed to get, I think, over 2-to-1 risk to reward on that trade, which is brilliant. If only every winning trade could have a profit ratio of that would be fantastic. It was a really good trade, actually. I think £105, trading £5 a point, which is pretty good. Even on a small account, you can make sometimes decent profit. So yeah, really good trade in the end. Funny old day really, because we've had lots of movement. Shame we couldn't get short from up here. Like I say, talked through the reasoning for not taking this signal here. It trundled its way down. There was potential to get long here, but when you're going into such momentum such as this, look, I mean, on the 4 hour, there's not even been a break of this ATMA, and really the breaks on the hourly have come out of hours trading, so you take them with a pinch of salt, really. There wasn't really enough to get long there, and as you can see, it rolled over pretty quickly. This level was good, but obviously the bounce came very quickly, too quick to do anything with. And then we finally got the most sensible place to take a short trade from, into structure lows here on the 5-minute time frame, in line with everything that we're looking at on the higher time frame, and we've had this decent run down. So a good place to finish on, really. 4 o'clock. Long old day. I've been really fidgety today, to be honest, but that's us finished. I hope you've enjoyed the video. A profit to make up for last week's loss, but no jokes aside, obviously, you get both. And this is actually looking like it's going to continue coming down. But no, I think this was a real test of patience today. It can be frustrating when you see a lot of movement and no real opportunity to get into the market. That can be really frustrating. In fact, I think that there's a fair few videos on this channel where I've had to just watch for the whole day and I've not got the trade. So at least we've got the trade today. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do consider leaving a like and consider subscribing. I try to do these every week. And I'll see you next week.